Hi, this is Bill, and you're on Finest Travel Beat with Anja and Bill. Today is the most anticipated day of our entire Alaskan cruise, Glacier Bay National Park. It's one of the most phenomenal places that we have ever visited, and throughout this video, we're going to talk to you all about Glacier Bay National Park, how to choose a cruise that will go there, what makes it so special, how the day is going to go, and a lot of tips and information along the way to either help you choose the right cruise for Alaska or maximize your time when you actually arrive in Alaska. So sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. We are sailing to Glacier Bay on the Sapphire Princess. And it's not just another scenic cruising day. Glacier Bay is actually a national park. It's federal protected land, and here's something most people don't realize. Only a very small number of ships are allowed to enter each day. That's what makes it such a rare itinerary. As you can see here, we're taking some video from our cabin. We anticipated this day so much that we actually upgraded to a large suite at the front of the ship so we could have views of Glacier Bay on three sides, and also had plenty of room for our group to kind of hang out and warm up. We're going to go all into this throughout the video, but as you can see here, it is in the morning. We first woke up and we're actually sailing into Glacier Bay here. Now, let's talk about why Glacier Bay is so exclusive. There are very strict access limits set by the National Park Service. Generally, only 2 large ships are allowed in per day. The cruise lines must apply years in advance. Not every cruise line gets the permits. Generally, most of the permits go to Princess and to Holland America Cruise Lines, as they have been sailing the longest there. And Norwegian does get a few, and some of the cruise lines occasionally will get into Glacier Bay National Park, but not many at all. Also, because Glacier Bay is a little further north, it's not included on a lot of round-trip itineraries from Seattle. There are a few from Vancouver, and generally it is included mostly on one-way itineraries that go either north or south. Now, there are other glaciers that are visitable in Alaska on other itineraries. And if you watched yesterday's video, we were at Hubbard Glacier. But Glacier Bay was something completely different. It's a multiple tidewater glaciers in one day. There are several glaciers. You'll sail in and out of these areas. The National Park Service comes on board. You'll see a little bit of a clip of that later and explains exactly where you are. It is a full national park experience. You have live narration that will go on throughout the ship. They will come over like the cruise director or captain comes over, except throughout the day, there's going to be a ranger for the National Park Service that's going to give you all kinds of information about Glacier Bay. So let's give you a little information on Glacier Bay. About 250 years ago, the entire area of the water was completely covered in ice. The glacier has retreated over 65 miles in that time. It's actually one of the fastest glacier retreats ever documented. The exposed land allows forest and wildlife to rapidly return, and there are wildlife throughout the forested area. It's about 3.5 million acres. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's part of a 25 million acre protected ecosystem. This is one of the largest protected areas in the world, and when you go to Glacier Bay, you're sailing right into the heart of it. Now, you'll spend a full day in Glacier Bay National Park, and very early in the morning, National Park Service rangers board the ship as you are entering the national park itself. They will provide live narration throughout the day through the public address system. They're going to point out things like the glaciers forming, any wildlife sightings. They'll give you a lot more historical facts, talk about the geological changes, and also what a calving event is. It's not generic information. They actually give you information that is specific to what you're seeing at the moment, which is just absolutely amazing. Now, on the Sapphire Princess, they set up a an area where you can get information, much like you would at the entrance to a national park in Skywalker's Lounge. As you can see there, they have the schedule of where you're going to be getting into each glacier. They have maps. They will give out all kinds of promotional information. They have a gift shop as well set up in here. And Princess was nice. They set up a little bar area up there so you can get some drinks or some spiked hot cocoa if you like, and warm yourself up in the morning like Kathy did there. And it was a really great experience to go up there, and you can, as you can see, you can watch right from there. So if that's something you want to do, if you want to watch from the inside in the glassed area, you're going to want to get up to Skywalker's on the early side. Here is where you can pick up promotional materials, make some purchases of some things like you would in any other national park. And you can also get your National Park Service passport stamped there as well. They also have a junior ranger program, so if you're traveling with kids, you can participate in that. They have educational booklets and activities. We were actually surprised because Princess is generally a cruise line geared towards older people. And in general, Alaska traditionally was a cruise that was more geared towards older adults. There were a lot of children on board this cruise. It was during June, so the kids most of them were out of school. But again, very well behaved. It was great, but it was a great mix of people. It was a much younger crowd than we had expected. As I'm sure you can see through the video, we're going to pretty much concentrate on showing you the scenery around the glaciers. For those of you that aren't going to be able to go, it's just phenomenal again. But let's talk to you about what it's like when you actually sail into Glacier Bay. You're going to notice the water is going to turn milky turquoise from the glacier silt. Mountains dramatically rising on both sides, snow-capped peaks. You can see there how it's almost like a frozen river that goes from the mountains that you can't see right down to the edge of the glacier. It's a very interesting national park. There are no towns, there are no buildings, and there's no cell service there. Your ship's Wi-Fi will work, but again, there's no cell service. It's a very, very remote part of the United States. Now let's talk about wildlife opportunities. As anybody that's visited Alaska will tell you, nothing is ever guaranteed. The animals will appear when they want to appear, and they won't when they don't. What things you may see are harbor seals floating on ice chunks. There'll be sea otters that might be drifting throughout the water. You'll see mountain goats high up on the cliffs, possibly, and the occasional bear on the shoreline. Here is a pro tip and an important one. Bring binoculars with you. On this ship, they sold binoculars, but this is one of those where if you have a really good set of binoculars that you can bring with you or borrow from a friend, the higher power, the better. Also, you're going to want to bring that good camera. Generally, I film almost everything using my iPhone and using my DJI Pocket camera. You may see it in some of our videos. Stuff can fit in your pocket, no problem. For this one, I brought my larger digital camera with the biggest zoom lens I could find, and that's how I filmed most of this videos with the zoom lens. This is one you're really, really going to want to have lots of video and pictures of. Now let's talk about the actual glaciers you'll see. The largest one and the most famous is probably going to be Margerie Glacier. That's 21 miles long, over 250 feet tall at its face. And it's one of the most active calving glaciers in the park with deep blue ice. We actually did see a little bit of calving. I did not catch it on this video, unfortunately, but many people did. Calving is when chunks of ice break off the face or the front side facing you of the glacier, and it makes a very interesting sound and is very cool. It's one of the more interesting things that you will see. This is also known for having some deep blue ice, and it's generally the highlight stop. The ships, whatever room you choose, the captain will stop in front of as close as he can get to these glaciers, and the ship will turn 360 degrees. So regardless of which side of the ship your cabin is on or you're standing on, you'll be able to see all of it. Other glaciers that you'll see are the Grand Pacific Glacier, which is very large but a little bit darker. It's covered more in rocks and debris. Almost looks like a mountain of gravel. You'll see that, I believe, a little bit later in the video. And the Lamplugh Glacier, and you'll also see the Johns Hopkins Glacier, which is not always accessible due to seal protection zones. If you can get closest, consider yourself pretty lucky. Next, we're going to tell you where to watch on your cruise ship, the best ways to spend your day. But before we do, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. Comment if you've been to Alaska before. Any engagement helps the channel out. And certainly, if you are going to Alaska, subscribe to the channel. We have the entire cruise will be the subject of daily videos. We also have a ton of other content on the channel of basically every cruise line. We have Europe, British Isles, Caribbean, a lot of cruise port information. So again, if you subscribe, you'll just get notified for all that stuff. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps us out a lot. So let's talk about where to watch it. Like I said earlier in the video, Angela and I, we had a group that we took with us, a group of really, really amazing friends. And it was the trip of a lifetime, largely because we went with some great people and just shared all this, the beauty and the friendship together. So we had actually picked a large suite on the ship. We splurged a lot. It had a separate bedroom and living room. There's a video on it on the ship. We have kind of the front corner. We're actually right next to the captain's cabin. But it was worth it because it allowed us this huge deck to go out privately, look. We came back in, warmed up a little bit. We also were Princess. We did the Princess premiere, so we were actually able to have drinks brought right to our cabin as well. So we all stayed nice and hydrated as we were watching the glacier. Now, if you don't have a suite, you can watch it certainly from the top deck, which is going to give you the most panoramic views. It's going to be cold and it's going to be windy. They do set up chairs and things like that. Also, Princess is fantastic. They had set blankets giving blankets out to people. But it's going to get cold. Even on our deck, it's cold. You're moving a little bit. It's windy in there. It is very, very cold. So you're going to want to dress in layers. Bring heavy hats. Bring gloves, nice gloves, scarves, things of that nature. Dress in layers like everything in Alaska. You're going to want to dress in layers. That top deck is going to be great for photography. Also, if the National Park Service calls something out, they see some sort of an animal, it's easy to get from one side to the other. It tends not to get overly crowded just because it's so cold up there. Most people aren't going to spend the entire day up there. So we went throughout the ship throughout the course of the day, and that was one of the places that we spent some time at. Now, also, a balcony stateroom is fantastic for Alaska. It's private and peaceful. It's great for the narration listening. You'll only see one side at a time, so that does limit it a little bit, but it's still a really nice place to watch from, and I really recommend a balcony for going to Alaska. Other options include some inside heated lounges. If there's any with large windows on your ship, that's great. Skywalkers on this ship was good, and there's also some other areas that have heated windows. Picking the right ship for Alaska is kind of important as well. You're going to want to work with your travel advisor and finding the right ship. Many of them are really actually just built for Alaska, and it'll keep you a little bit warmer in there. And again, dress in layers. Temperature can be 40 degrees with wind chill even in the middle of the summertime. You're also going to want to bring a waterproof jacket in case it rains a little bit, and extra batteries for your cameras as well. So let's talk about why Glacier Bay should be on your Alaskan cruise. Again, it's much more than just a scenic stop. It's a protected national treasure. There's very few places, if any, that I know of that's going to have National Park Service rangers come on board. It's multiple glaciers in one day. And again, it's very hard to access. There's a very elite number of people. Of all the cruises that go to Alaska, only 2 each day go to Glacier Bay National Park. Alaska without Glacier Bay is beautiful, but if you can swing it, I highly recommend it. If Glacier Bay is on your bucket list, let us know in the comments below. And if you're planning an Alaskan cruise or have questions about the itinerary, please reach out. We're happy to help you find the perfect sailing and answer any questions that you may have. And in closing, thanks for spending the day with us aboard the Sapphire Princess. We're trying to keep these videos a little on the shorter side. So hopefully you're getting value out of it. As you see, we're closing off some photos of some of the amazing friends we have that sailed with us. So on behalf of Angela, thanks again for watching so much. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye-bye, everybody.